to Business Review, a daily program that delves into the latest and most significant economic stories. From stock markets to currency news, Business Review covers the most up-to-date developments in the global finance.
The World Bank published its Global Economic Prospects report predicting the global economy is expected to expand 4% in 2021, assuming an initial COVID-19 vaccine rollout becomes widespread throughout the year. A recovery, however, will likely be subdued unless policymakers move decisively to tame the pandemic and implement investment-enhancing strategies. The near-term outlook remains highly uncertain, and different growth outcomes are still possible, as a section of the report details. A downside scenario in which infections continue to rise and the rollout of a vaccine is delayed could limit the global expansion to 1.6% in 2021. Meanwhile, in an upside scenario with successful pandemic control and a faster vaccination process, global growth would accelerate to nearly 5%.
We are looking at much more of a gradual fall going all the way into 2021. So by the end of 2021, we would have seen remittances fall by about 14%. This year, the fall would be more like 7.5% as opposed to 20%. So instead of down and up, we are looking at more like a gradual decline. In some ways, we are now looking at the pain sort of being shifted and prolonged a bit.
World Bank Group president asserted that while the global economy appears to have entered a subdued recovery, policymakers face formidable changes in public health, debt management, budget policies, central banking, and structural reforms, as they try to ensure that this still fragile global recovery gains traction and sets a foundation for robust growth. Economic activity in the Middle East and North Africa is forecast to recover modestly to 2.1% in this year, reflecting the lasting damage from the pandemic and low oil prices. The recovery is contingent on containment of the pandemic, stabilizing oil prices, no further escalation of geopolitical tensions, and the assumption of vaccine rollout in the second half of the year. By 2022, after 2 years of expected recovery, output is still about 8% below the output projected prior to the pandemic, with a larger impact on oil importers than exporters.
The second phase has begun in earnest. So how long will it take for the COVID-19 situation to correct itself, that for us to get on top of it is not clear. And the entire economic outlook, and because of that, the outlook for migration and for remittances is also very uncertain.
The pandemic has exacted substantial costs on all EMDA regions. Although all regions are expected to grow this year, the pace of the recovery varies considerably, with greater weakness in countries that have larger outbreaks or greater exposure to global spillovers through tourism and industrial commodity exports. The East Asia and Pacific region is envisioned to show notable strength in 2021 due to a solid rebound in China, whereas activity is projected to be weakest in the Middle East and North Africa and the sub-Saharan African regions. Many countries are expected to lose a decade or more of per capita income gains. In addition to region-specific risks, all regions are vulnerable to renewed outbreaks and logistic impediments to the distribution of effective vaccines, financial stress, amid elevated debt levels, and the possibility that the impact of pandemic on growth and incomes may be worse than expected over the long term.
With the new year, hope rises to control the pandemic that has destroyed the economy, took lives, and changed life all around the globe for good. From in front of the World Bank, Dalia Al-Komi reporting for Business Review, Kuwait Television.
After long struggling to survive with tea, the eve of the new year came with another lockdown. Means new huge hit for the economy looks high likely to tip back into a new shrinking of the new year, following a record 25% fall in output for the first half of last year. Drip feed approach offered to support business with hope to soften an expected recession.
Today we've announced £4.6 billion of additional help. For businesses in the most affected sectors who are asked to close, they will receive up to £9,000 in a one-off cash grant. It's important to remember that comes on top of the existing monthly grants of £3,000 that those businesses receive, and the extension of furlough all the way through to April.
But Morgan Stanley expects the new restrictions will have a similar impact to last year's March lockdown, which shaved around 2 percentage points of the headline activities, means UK GDP could shrink by as much as 3% of the first 3 months of the new year. OBR is pessimistic that would imply borrowing might be another £100 billion higher than expected, with debt rising above 120% of UK GDP. That scales of additional debt with worse outlook will force the Bank of England to expand the £150 billion of money printing and purchase bonds it has already planned in.
Absolutely. It is, so many people want that new plate on the 1st of March. That's why in terms of preparation and planning, we need to try and have, foresight of what is going to happen as early as possible. Difficult to predict, obviously, with the nature of the pandemic and the desperate need to get the numbers down. But for business, it is about trying to, try and have as much certainty as you can over the next few months.
Vaccines are coming. The Bank of England is waiting as much as hospital, with a hope to recover from the most economic problem during peacetime. Gamal Shaheen, Business Review, London.
The Palestinian Gaza Strip on the coast of the Mediterranean Sea has a moderate climate in which farmers face difficulty in investing in their lands by planting sugarcane, which needs abundant water and high temperatures. But however, notable areas were planted with sugarcane reeds east of Gaza City and as well as different other areas in Khan Yunis.
We used to import sugarcane from Egypt when the crossing was open. But now we don't. We grew it here locally in the Gaza Strip. And thanks God we had succeeded 100%. And as you can see, our sugar cane looks perfect, and it is perfect in color and size. Sugarcane cultivation begins in February through October, all summer long. So it takes a long time, but it is a good choice for us farmers.
And based on the statistics of the Ministry of Agriculture in Gaza, cultivating the seasonal crop of sugarcane is no longer a marginal crop in the Gaza Strip. Rather, the area of these lands increased to 300 acres, that's 300,000 square meters, during the last decade. Meanwhile, about 250 acres of the total agricultural land planted with cane belong to the sugarcane juice shops of the Gaza Strip.
In the season, we sell each acre for 15,000 shekels, about $6,000, which makes a good living for us as farmers with families.
Sugarcane is a winter plant with many benefits. A stable sugar is extracted from it, and therefore sugarcane juice has become one of the most popular natural juices in Gaza, as it is met with great demand by the people, which has made cane juice shops widely known in the Strip.
Sugarcane juice is considered one of the old new drinks. In the past, it was limited to a special group of people who knew its benefits. But now a wide range of people in different ages come especially to drink sugarcane juice. And this has contributed to the development of sugarcane farming in the Gaza Strip.
And about the stages of planting, harvesting, and squeezing sugarcane, the farmers have told us that after putting the notes in the soil and waiting for a whole year, they ripen at the beginning of the winter season. Then the cane is peeled on the farm to ensure its maturity. Then it's cut with special knives, collected in straps, and exported to pressers. And there it is washed well and finally put into an electric presser that turns these solid sticks into delicious juice. For KTV2, this is Business Review Program, Yumna Sayed, Gaza, Palestine. This has been Business Review, your daily source for the most critical financial stories. Tune in next time for the latest financial news impacting the world economy.